What's up, everybody? Welcome to my channel. I'm DJ, aka Token Black Guy. And here for the first time, hit that like button, subscribe button. Sorry I haven't been much content this week, but I've been a little under the weather with the vid. But I'm slowly getting better and everything. Thank you all the new subscribers we got. We got to what 774, so we're like 16 away from 800. So truly appreciate y'all. But we got some news today that apparently Rotten Tomatoes is a little rotten themselves. So let's take a listen to what Philip DeFranco found out about this.
Tomatoes is a fraud. That is what many are saying now after an investigation published in Vulture highlighting just how easily the platform, which is the most influential site in film criticism, is gamed. With one of the biggest takeaways being that some critics have allegedly been paid to write reviews to boost a film's Rotten Tomatoes score. In the piece,
I mean, we've been kind of saying that, you know, sometimes these scores don't add up to what the movie actually is. Though those critic scores are always a little fishy. That way, you know, I feel like they used Rotten Tomatoes to waver the opinion of the public in certain situations and stuff when a film wasn't doing quite so well they thought it was going to do so. But
he's using a 2018 film, Ophelia, starring Daisy Ridley, to highlight how this works, noting that when a publicity company called Bunker 15 started working on the film, there were only 13 critics reviews from early screenings, and 7 of those were negative, landing the movie at 46% on the platform, with that, of course, translating to not good, because anything below 60% is considered rotten. And so Bunker 15 allegedly took matters into their own hands to up that number by reportedly recruiting obscure, often self-published critics who are nevertheless part of the pool tracked by Rotten Tomatoes. And noting in another break from standard practice, several critics say Bunker 15 pays them $50 or more for each review, and further explaining that a Bunker 15 staffer emailed a potential reviewer about the film and noting that the movie would benefit from more input from different critics. And that employee did say, of course, journalists can write whatever they feel, but they also added that, quote, super nice ones often agree to not publish negative reviews on their primary website, instead sidelining those to a smaller blog that Rotten Tomatoes never sees, so they can make sure.
I haven't personally said that, but I know some other people that I've talked to, and you know, yeah, I've been on shows with. We've said these kind of things before. You know, hasn't been much concrete proof, but it might be a smoking gun. I mean, someone had mentioned one time Grace Randolph. She seems to be, you know, could be a little under the table for certain stuff, but I don't know. This ain't looking good for Rotten Tomatoes. Like I said, a little bit rotten.
Sure that the platform's only getting the positive reviews and the negative ones don't influence the score. And then bam, would you look at that, over the span of a few months, 8 new reviews were added for Ophelia, with notably 7 of them being positive, and most of which came from critics who had reviewed other Bunker 15 movies. And so Ophelia's score climbed to a much better 62%, with one writer saying that Bunker 15 even tried to lobby them to change their negative review to something that would just be, quote, barely overall positive. Now, with all that said, for what it's worth, the founder of Bunker 15 denied that they pay for reviews to manipulate Rotten Tomatoes, instead telling Vulture, "Wow, you are really reaching there. We have thousands of writers in our distribution list. A small handful have set up a specific system where filmmakers can sponsor or pay to have them review a film. But it's also not just bribery that's allegedly being used to..."
I mean, people have been saying that for a long time, man. They think these studios are paying critics to boost their scores on these reviews and everything, when the movie's like actually awful, but it's getting like high praises in the theater, you know, and stuff like that. But I know some, you know, they say that math ain't mathing sometimes, but apparently, you know, some underhanding stuff going on behind the scenes.
Game Rotten Tomatoes, right? Because reportedly its algorithm is flawed to begin with it calculating scores by deciding if a review is good or bad, and then dividing the positives by the total, meaning that all reviews are weighted the same, whether it comes from a noted publication or a random Substack. And notably in this situation, there's also no room for nuance, right? For reviews in the middle, or let's say a film is excellent versus kinda good, or horrific versus not my cup of tea. And on top of that, Rotten Tomatoes starts publishing scores when as few as like 5 reviews are in. And even though those reviews might not reflect how the final pool of critics at large see the film, if they're positive, studios will run with it and put that high score on every piece of marketing.
I never understood that. Why start posting your, you know, score when like you only had like 6 reviews? You know, wait till you say start after you need a minimum of 25 reviews before you can rate the score. That way, you know, you get good, positive, and negative. Because as soon as the movie comes out and you got 5 reviews, you know, oh, it's got a 98 on Rotten Tomatoes. But in reality, give it a week or two, it's probably going to drop.
Marketing. When you're talking about a multi-billion-dollar industry, it's not surprising that studios have made a game out of this, right? They try to make sure that the first critics to see the movie are going to be the ones that like it. That way it has as high a score as possible when early ticket sales start before any more negative reviews might roll in. And while that's certainly not as blatantly unethical as paying for positive reviews, it is a sign of why these scores can't always be trusted. And it also hits on why so many in the film industry just can't stand the chokehold Rotten Tomatoes has in this space. In fact, it's why we saw so many critics responding to this piece by saying things like, Rotten Tomatoes has always been an embarrassment to the profession. The certified critic designation, the equivalent equivalent of a participation trophy, the grading format, a total sham. And even absent any foul play from studios and PR firms, the platform is useless as a metric for evaluation. Deeply
Yes.
anti-art and antithetical to good criticism. As well as, why am I wasting my time trying and often failing to say something interesting about movies I see when I should just be writing yes or no and hitting publish? Now, with all this, it is also
Basically
worth
what it
noting
is.
that when Vulture contacted Rotten Tomatoes about Bunker 15's alleged antics, the company said, "We take the integrity of our scores seriously and do not tolerate any attempts to manipulate them. We have a dedicated team who monitors our platforms regularly and thoroughly investigates and resolves any suspicious activity." And actually, with that, a number of Bunker 15 films have now been delisted, and writers who reviewed them are getting a warning.
I mean, of course, he got caught now. Of course, they're going to start removing those critic scores and those, writers and everything because he got caught red-handed.
The Daily Beast reporting that Ophelia is among the films that have been taken down. I'm also going to
Of
link
course.
to Vulture's full report. It goes even further, dives deeper. But I got to ask, what are your thoughts on this? Because I mean, even though I know that it is a flawed system, even before reporting it, I still use it as a resource. But what are your feelings on this story? Also, do you use other things when you're taking into account reviews, or you just try and stay away?
Yeah, it's like, we've said before, like, you can't trust Rotten Tomatoes. And yeah, the movies, when they see they got 10 reviews that are positive or 9 reviews that are positive, they jump out and say, oh, it's got a 98 on Rotten Tomatoes, when actually the real people haven't saw it yet. But I don't know. Not looking good. Some of the naysayers and conspiracy theorists just kind of just prove their point. I'm not saying I was one of them, but I was always kind of skeptical sometimes when it came to Rotten Tomatoes. And we said it before on many of the shows that I'm on, that you can never really trust Rotten Tomatoes scores. So, but yeah, with that said, what do you think about this? Do you use Rotten Tomatoes? Have you always thought that they were like boosting their scores and everything, or he just kind of shocked you and everything? But thanks for watching, guys. I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.